Nobody is going to make them believe. You cannot make them. Kids, even in Catholic schools, they don't have to participate if they don't want to.
Yeah,
You know?
they don't have to do the active prayer.
They don't. They absolutely do not, and I think that's very important. Because I remember being an adolescent, and I went to school, and I remember thinking, well, I don't know if I really believe this. I don't think this is really accurate. And you know, a child comes of age and has the right to decide themselves what they think is accurate.
The fact that they want to remove the word God from the Pledge of Allegiance. That's right. They want to remove the word God from our flags.
I agree.
Just, you know,
That's a little too far, yes.
it's not too far.
Though I do believe in separation of church and state.
But should you, and the other thing, so you require all the children to stand up, put their hand on the
Elevator, wheelchair, ramp, handrails,
But if I'm Buddhist, I
changing
don't
rules,
believe these are
policies,
God. I believe in reincarnation. I believe in
No, I remember.
why are you
Sure.
the
And
person
then
saying,
comes to find out when he grows up, he's all caught up in that stuff, yeah? Sure not.
About 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left.
Like if the kids are addicted to smoking and they don't have money, they might, you know,
Cause stealing,
get
thievery,
money. Yeah. Let's just ensure.
Right. Cause other crimes, yeah.
We don't have that.
Can begin as minor crimes and then eventually escalate into larger scale crimes, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So it's kind of addressing that part. Be denied access to public school, but your parent, the parent would have to supply.
so why is it that the Buddhists
It's not like the
this way?
school.
No, I think,
But they don't usually do
I
that.
would imagine that there might be some students who would qualify for
When
both.
I had religious education.
What school? Oh, okay, they don't do that public school.
They don't do religious education at all.
And if there are only stairs,
I didn't know that.
no,
Did you know
Publics, what?
public? They don't teach religious education in public school.
You're not allowed to.
But why? You're not preaching. You're not preaching a religion. You're teaching them about
Now,
all
I
religions.
heard recently about a school, and I believe it was on the mainland, that wanted to do that. And in fact, I believe they did in a high school on the mainland, introduce a world religion class where, and I think it's appropriate for high school. I don't know about young people, but you know, to make kids aware of different people and their beliefs. You know, so usually now it's college.
Along that same line, though, right? So the separation of church and state, not teaching religion in schools. For example, Winworth Community College, state-funded community college, right? They have religious education classes.
I'm taking it right now. Thursday night. Sarah.
It's like a world religion class.
Yeah.
Where you learn all
It's
different
excellent.
So there's
Excellent.
not a specific
Yeah.
religion.
2-minute warning.
Just telling about.
Yeah. So why
Right.
is it that that's not allowed in
Right,
schools?
exactly.
Because children at 7th, 8th, 9th grade, they're going to start becoming curious about
Very
religion.
I do think it's high school appropriate. I really do.
But they don't teach that in the curriculum in public schools.
At least
Even,
for the,
you know, for like Christmas or whatever, we have to say celebration, happy holiday, which, and it sucks. You know, what about the people that want to do, I mean, fine, everyone is different, that's fine, but for others, you
it's
know.
okay to acknowledge it. You don't have to participate in it just because we're
Exactly.
acknowledging it.
Exactly.
That's how I feel about it. And you should teach your kids that, oh, if you don't believe in it, oh, well, that's what they believe and that's okay. Oh, and that's what
But
they believe and that's
in
okay.
La EA, that side, they do Christmas pageants. They do because that's what the Mormon community
Even in the
wants
public
to.
schools?
Yeah.
But how do they
But
get
that's what the community,
But if someone made a
sorry,
big thing
that's what
about
the
it,
community wants.
I mean, I'm just saying, I would make it.
If you want state laws to be state laws.
You have 10 seconds. Keeping it on the curtain.
And it's so funny. All these people with their cell phones, what are they looking at? Blogs? Oh, see.
It's a verb now.
Very interesting.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is a quick down to the nitty, like gritty, real fast kind of thing.
We're gonna have to give you each a minute. Now that's not a whole lot of time, but we're gonna practice our giving a minute speech. So in that minute, you decide who you want to be the person who reports out for you. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're just gonna follow along 1 through 6. Okay. Start us off. Which one?
Okay, this one is older.
Child Protective Services abuse and neglect laws. And yes, it is helping families and children in cases where it's reported, because it has to be reported. And it should be helping via education and services to stop the abuse, because children that are taken away from their birth families because of this law have to get services and adhere to those services in order to get their children back. The law does promote excellence and good outcomes for children in that it applies parenting skills. It's giving children a voice who might not have a voice by mandatory reporting, for instance. And if these children are then placed in foster homes that are nurturing environments, they'll excel academically, physically, socially, all those kinds of things. How did the law come to be? We weren't really sure. We assumed it was public pressure, and that these things like mandatory reporters, so doctors and teachers are, if they suspect abuse, they're under the law to have to report it. So there's.
That's great.
That's a hotline number.
You have the hotline number too.
Number for child abuse.
Definitely share that. Is this 5? What is it? Hotline 83? What is it?
It's 841-0822. But we had a really important question. The last one was, do you have any question about it? Can we ask our question?
Yeah, ask your question.
We wanted to know if it was the kind of thing where 3 strikes you're out, or how is it applied, this law, that, so that people aren't coming constantly back under the same law?
Oh, that's a very good question, and that's going to take a lot more time than we have to talk about tonight, but we can come back to it later, for sure. But the law, there's no 3 strikes you're out kind of ruling, but there is a little bit of monitoring the family, strengthening the family. If they're not able to have a safe place for the child, then they will be go into what we call permanency. And so it's a very involved process for sure. So that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah. So one more time, Hannah.
So our group talked about family law. So we kind of talked about family tax laws, meaning earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and child and dependent parent tax credit. So we thought that yes, it helps children and families because they don't have to pay as much taxes, and it promotes excellence and good outcomes because there's more money in the family's pockets. So there's hopefully that they are able to care for the needs of their children more adequately. And we looked it up, and I guess at least part of this law started in 1970 as to promote anti-poverty, to do some for anti-poverty laws. How would you find this law or summary? We saw it on the internet, but talk to your CPA or Legal Aid Society has some information on their website. That's it.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Number 3.
I'm Michelle Richford, another parent here.
Awesome job.
Our law was the smoking ban.
Okay.
It helps lower health risks, saves money. Kids perform better in school if they're not in a household with a smoker. There was a study on that. Also helps children from becoming smokers. Not all of them, but some of them, hopefully. It promotes better education, reduces petty crime, reduces accidental fires and possible deaths, less illness, less peer pressure. The law came to be several complaints. Some people or groups were affected by it, and they lobbied it enough to get it passed. How would you find it? You Google it or go to www.whateveryourstateis.gov, and you can look up the law that way too.
Great, thank you.
Woo! I didn't have any questions.
That's all about that timer tonight. That's so awesome. Okay.
Hi, I'm Marcia, and I'm parent leader. Hey, Marcia.
Hi, Marcia.
Well, we chose section 504 because we had a hard time deciding. Is it helping children and families, how or how not? Basically, this is kids with special needs are allowed, given equal access to education. So yes, those children who otherwise might not be able to wheel their wheelchairs into a school that only has stairs or something like that, there have to be reasonable accommodations made for these children. So that's going to help those children and their families. How does the law promote excellence and good outcomes for children? For the particular children that need the services, but also the other children, you know, children with disabilities become more normalized because they're with everybody else, they're included. How did the law come to be? We're not totally sure, but it was signed into law in 2008. My guess is that it's like a watered down version of the IDEA, but maybe it was kind of capturing kids that didn't really need an IEP that would still have some disabilities, and maybe some other kids, maybe it alleviated some of the paperwork. I don't know.
Hi, my name is Jeremy, and I'm a parent and I'm a community leader.
Jeremy.
Yay.
So our group is number 5, civil law, civil rights, and we chose religious freedom. There were only a couple within our list that actually could fit in with the children and whatnot. So, is it helping children and families? How or how not? We believe yes. Each family can choose freely what they want to teach their children. It allows their children the freedom to explore their own religious beliefs. How does the law promote excellence and good outcomes? Children and families have that freedom that other countries do not. So, which is very important. Things like Sharia law. How did this law come to be? Well, it's part of the founding of the country. And how would we show it to other parent leaders? First Amendment. So, and we had some questions. This is what questions you have about the law. Well, things like how Sharia law and, for example, out in Laie, where they have Christmas pageants in schools where there's supposed to be a separation of church and state. Sharia law, they want to have their own laws in countries that don't have Sharia law. So.
Thank you guys very much.
Hi, my name is Christina. I'm a parent and community leader. We chose within public safety gun laws, specifically gun laws that are more restrictive. We talked about positives and negatives for children. About positives about gun laws, well, guns in general is if families are hunting, they're gathering food for their family, it's a bonding activity, it's a way to teach responsibility and skill. And then the negative, that guns in most households are more often, I think statistics support us that there's more damage done than food gathering and safety for the family. And there's not a lot of hunting in Hawaii, there's some, but not too much. So how does the law promote excellence? It's increased safety for children, less access to weapons for children. We specifically brought up even suicidality in teens, that you don't really want to have weapons around for them to access. How did this law come to be? The Second Amendment in our Constitution, the right to bear arms. How would I find this information? I'd Google U.S. Constitution or Hawaii state gun laws. What do we want to know more about the law? We don't really know what the actual laws are in Hawaii.
Okay, so consider yourself expert of subject matter after this. How was this exercise for you all?
Short.
Short.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was great.
To the point. It was to the point, right? You used resources that probably was knowledge to you already that you kind of maybe made assumptions about. Some people actually went to Google and other areas and sources. Smartphones are great for this classroom. Bring yours next time if you want to. This is what about access, right? We didn't say you couldn't use those things. People did, didn't do them. But I think it's really important. So how is this related to, when you look at the laws tonight and all the exercises we did, where are we at on the matrix? What's happening with the matrix? From the continuum from self to community, where are we at?
Where you belong.
Along the whole thing.
Along the whole continuum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And what way when you say it along the whole continuum, what are some reasons why you say that?
Policy over there.
Policy?
Policy,
They affect the whole community as well as individuals and families.
Okay.
There's a lot of content.
Education, there's a lot of content.
A lot of
Thousands,
content.
thousands.
Okay. So what was our process of learning the content tonight? What was some of our process?
Brainstorming.
Brainstorming. Okay. Research. What else?
Learning from each other.
Learning from each other.
Yeah,
Personal experiences. Okay. Right. Any other thoughts about this matrix? How about your, as a civic leader, how will this help you engage your communities, this knowledge that you learned? What are some ways that will help you engage as a civic leader, as a parent, civic leader?
Well, we can share with other parents,
Okay.
you know, our friends, our kids, our neighbors. We can share.
Okay. Because sharing is caring, for one.
I believe that, Margaret.
Right? Yes, I believe it too. Yes, Jane?
I'm starting to think that you don't have to.
What? Oh, I don't think so. You can have your opinion about that too.
Caring, not at all.
There's certain things we don't want to share with each other.
Not when it comes to
Okay. That's when it comes to gun. Okay, I'm sorry, Jamie. Continue.
I'm starting to think you don't have to be an expert on anything. You just have to deliver it with confidence. The little amount of knowledge that you do have, because it's probably more than the next person.
Okay.
And that you can affect change that way, like at least get the discussion going.
Okay.
Confidence that I've learned looks like you know what you're talking about.
Okay. What also is important about that is I appreciate that because it's true. You can, if you do it confidently. But also it's good to have facts too. It is good to have that because a bit sprinkling of facts will be helpful too, right? But I think that's also very important because you want to be sure, especially if you're talking to people and trying to convince them, right? You want to, yeah. So I agree with you. Getting up there and engaging in the conversation, that helps out, initiates that conversation for sure. Okay. What I passed out to you guys earlier is what we call the Cake Caucus. It's a group of bills that legislators, and I have many more copies of this one. Are they attached to your document? List of? Oh, it's a yellow, different color.